Welcome to Module K.1. In this module, we will be reviewing the components to the 3-read cycle for kindergarten classes. The 3-read cycle consists of 3 days of reading the same read-aloud text. On each day, the teacher focuses on pushing in and pulling out, focusing their readings on why questions that build students' understanding over time. On day 1, the teacher reads the book aloud. During the read aloud, the teacher thinks aloud key events. These events might include thinking about the central problem to the story, the characters as they are introduced and developed, the setting of the story, and key vocabulary words that may have been introduced for the first time. At the end of the story, the teacher asks a key why question that requires more explanation from the students. Day 1 is like writing notes on Post-its. It's about getting the facts straight so that we can dive more deeply into the story. Now you're going to watch a video. At points in the video, I will pause and narrate the book the way that I might in the first day of the 3-read cycle.
Waddling through the dense jungle, Albert spotted Benny. He quietly tiptoed up behind his friend and gave him a super strong hippo hug. "Yow!" Benny roared. "What are you doing?" "Hugging you," Albert replied. "Don't you like hugs?" "Not when they're so strong," Benny said. "I'm playing hide and seek and you gave away my hiding place." "I'm sorry," Albert said. "Can I play with you?" "No," Benny said as he slid back into the bushes.
Uh-oh, I see a problem. Benny didn't seem to like that hug because it interrupted his game of hide and seek. I wonder what's going to happen next.
Albert spotted Jasmine jumping rope by a waterfall. He ran up and gave her a squeeze.
Ooh, I noticed something. All the characters in this book are animals just like Albert. I wonder what other animals he's going to meet.
"Ouch!" Jasmine said. "What are you doing?" "Hugging you," Albert replied. "Don't you like hugs?" "Not now," Jasmine said. "I wasn't ready. Just look at me." "I'm sorry," Albert said. "Can I play with you?" "No," said Jasmine as she untangled herself.
Why does Albert's hug upset Jasmine? On day 2, the teacher reads the book aloud. During the read aloud, the teacher thinks aloud on character actions, thoughts, and feelings. These events might include thinking about the reactions of characters to events in the story, or might help connect dialogue and text to the pictures of the characters. Teachers might also draw in text-to-life connections, like, "Wow, something like that happened to me once, and I felt really sad about it. I wonder if Jimmy feels sad too." Finally, the teacher asks a final why question that requires more explanation from the students. Day 2 makes me think of emoticons. It's about helping to understand the emotions, thoughts, and feelings that underpin a character's actions.
Albert plodded over to the savannah. Badge was just about to score a goal. "I love you, little monkey!" Albert shouted.
Albert is really excited to see his friend. He must really like him.
"Oh!" Badge exclaimed. "What are you doing?" "Hugging you," Albert replied. "Don't you like hugs?" "You just made me miss my shot," Badge yelled. "You're just too rough." "I'm sorry," Albert said. "Can I play with you?" "No," said Badge as he dashed after the ball.
Oh, I can tell Badge is pretty angry by this picture. I see his arms are crossed and he looks upset.
Albert slumped down in the shade of a baobab tree. "I was only trying to show my friends how much I cared about them," Albert thought. "Now nobody wants to play with me." Albert watched as Benny, Jasmine, and Badge began a game of freeze tag. "I wish I could play too," he said, "but nobody wants a clumsy hippo in their game."
Why do you think Albert is sad? How can you tell he's sad? On day 3, the teacher does not read the text aloud. Instead, students will be the drivers of the story today, explaining what is happening on each page and sharing the characters' thoughts and feelings. Teachers may choose to cold call or randomly select students, take volunteers, or use other methods for selecting students to share. To increase cognitive lift and get more students thinking and sharing, teachers may also use a turn and talk, or have students practice their answers in a microphone before the teacher asks individual students to share out to the class. Teachers must have a clear vision of what they want students to share in order to know whether the answers are on track and whether students will be able to answer the final why question. Teachers also work to lift the language, meaning that they will help to guide discussion by modeling more complex sentences, adding new vocabulary, and helping to explain complex trains of thought. Finally, teachers ask a culminating why question that drives the theme and meaning of the read aloud. Day 3 is like a conductor bringing the orchestra together. The teacher is guiding students to show all that they've learned over the past few days.
Then Albert looked up and saw that Benny had been tagged. He was frozen in place. "Benny needs my help," Albert said. He barreled towards his friend, rushing faster and faster. "I'm coming!"
What should students tell you about this page?
Albert ran so hard the earth trembled. He ran so hard the trees shook. He ran so hard his friend stopped playing. "Uh-oh," Benny thought, "not again."
What should students be able to tell you about this page?
But Albert remembered what his friends had said about his hugs. Too strong, not now, too rough. He slowed down and skidded to a stop just before he reached Benny. "Can I play with you?" Albert asked in a calm voice. "I won't hug you unless you want me to, and I promise not to be so rough." "Sure," Benny said, letting out a deep sigh. "You're it."
What would you want students to tell you about this page? You might ask them what Albert did differently here.
When the game ended, Benny, Jasmine, and Badge huddled together. "What's the matter?" Albert asked. "Did I do something wrong?" "No," Jasmine said. "We're proud of you. Now we want to give you a hug. Is that okay?" Albert nodded and smiled shyly as they wrapped their arms around him. Not too strong, not too rough. The perfect hug for a hugopotamus.
Reflect on the story, and then draft a final why question you might ask your students at the end of the third read. This concludes our K.1 module on the 3-read cycle. In summary, 3 reads give our students the opportunity to 1. Understand the facts of the story, such as the central problem, setting, or events. 2. Analyze the emotions, thoughts, and feelings of characters. And 3. Synthesize their learning to retell the story and illuminate the main theme. Embedded in this module are some additional resources, including a sample model lesson plan for the 3-read cycle, and a video of a Rocky Mountain Prep teacher in action on the 3rd day of the 3-read cycle. If you have questions, please note them here.